Providence branch NAACP. Oh yeah, I know him. He was NAACP president, the boxer. Yeah. Jim Crow, yes. That was another thing, equal rights. I remember growing up in North Carolina, which was at that time really highly was segregated. When I became 21 and I wanted to vote, my father took me to the place where we would go to register to vote. My father was already a voter, and that was because he was a college educated man. I went to this warehouse to vote, and before I could fill out the form, I was pushed the preamble to the Constitution in my face, and I was to read it. And I looked at it and read first lines, and so I pushed it back, and then I began to recite the preamble to the Constitution, and the man looked at me, and I said, I want to talk about history. I said, we'll talk about the 13th, 14th Amendment to the Constitution. And I said, now, I learned that in high school, and I said, you want to go some Shakespeare? And I began to say, Caesar. The only African Americans could vote then were the ones to be able to read and write. My wife and myself, we drove to Washington, and I stayed overnight. We stayed overnight with my sister and her family. And then we went from there. I'm not sure whether my sister took us or whether we got a bus to go to the march. The place was crowded. The whole area was crowded. And then there were rows of buses. They drove up, they had signs from the states or the cities, all the way from Massachusetts, as I remember, down to Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. And he started speaking. And then we listened, and I listened, and I listened till it was over. And that's when the crowd began to shout, clap, and that I remember. It reinforced my growing up from my father. So he taught us not to hate or to be angry all the time. Be concerned and be involved. So when I came here and I found out these situations, and then with the NAACP, I joined the NAACP and the organizations, and we had to march on fair housing, jobs, and all.